So here we are. We have ourselves Diva. Is that primarily what we're looking at in this round?
Oh yeah, only Diva.
Cool, cool.
Time to raise my APM.
Okay, so you're partnered up with a Winston and you've got yourself a Genji.
I'm gonna shoot you down.
Yeah, we can start with this. So here we are. Go here. This makes sense to me. Usually this would be a follow your Winston type move, not a go first move, but he didn't go up here, which is weird. And he's sort of just instantly micro-missiling, assuming there will be something here, which is a little bit weird, because sure, there will probably be something here, but I don't know what it's going to be. It might be a Zarya that's immediately going to bubble. It might be, you know, nothing. Like, it's a little weird to spend this before you've seen anything.
I'm gonna shoot you down. Got one.
Good noop boop.
APM 좀 올려볼까?
I mean, this isn't amazing. Like, you're going here.
APM 좀 올려볼까?
You always knew that this bubble was going to be a thing, so talk me through the decision to use micro missiles here.
I didn't actually think I would boop him out of the bubble. I thought the missiles would hit him before
Okay,
booping him out.
I mean, even if you don't poop him out, though, he's going to get out of that bubble pretty darn fast. Like, that's what he's going to do. He's going to keep the bubble between you and him, but okay. And then it's a little bit of a trick, because you don't necessarily want to follow him into the bubble where your missiles, you know, are like, no, those are in my face, etc.
Boosters engaged.
Why? Just because you wanted this height? Okay. Yeah, usually your boops when you're playing against Winston are a little more of an answer to what is he doing, right? Like, you're in this situation, and I'm pretty comfortable with this fight. Like, this Winston doesn't scare me. You have a Mercy. He's got a Mercy and an Ana. You still win this fight pretty handily as long as he's not zapping your Mercy. So, we're still not too worried. We know what the status of his bubble is. The fair's a little more scary, sure. Don't get me wrong. And is this just I want to join my Winston, so I'm going to boop the Winston? Like, this is just a little bit weird because I don't know if your play is, hey, I'm helping this, or if your play is, I'm booping Winston. Like, booping Winston doesn't really do a ton for you. This boop would be generally more of a, I want to have my boop available to peel him. Like, if he jumps on my Ana, I want to have boop available to knock him away from my Ana. My Hanzo, I want to have it available to knock away my knock away for my Hanzo. Or, you know, if you're just doing a quick little hop up here to join your Winston, that totally makes sense. But you sort of have mixed messages going on here. Fortunate of him to join you up here. Okay. Free. Should have been free. You're gonna play Peel. A little too interested in what's going on here. Okay, so we see that the fair is going to be a problem. We can pay some attention to that. Instead, we're on the monkey. I see that you want the monkey. You get the monkey. Great. Let's flick over and DM. But then we see that's a bigger deal. Okay, that's fine.
Not use that much DM
On which part?
on when the Pharaoh was shooting me. I feel like I used too much.
You were a little slow to bring it to that. I mean, yes, now this is too much right here because you don't really need to be protecting this that badly. So this last bit is too much, but it's not way overboard. What your DM use was, yeah, well, that's a little more overboard.
Get through this. No fair.
That's a little weird though. I mean, I don't want you to lose your mech. It's
Get
true.
through this.
But why are you dancing in space here rather than closing the angle? Like, this isn't doing anything. Holding this angle open with your DM like this isn't doing anything for you, your team. It's just letting you stand here. If you're going to use a flick of DM because, hey, I'm getting shot, I don't want to lose my mech, so be it, that's fine. But you're really just sort of doing a little bit of a diva wiggle here rather than actually changing your angle, actually backing up so that they can't bother you anymore, which is what would make sense. So yes, this is a little heavier on the DM use.
Heroes never die.
Okay. I don't think you can hold this. Good. Better boot. So you lost track of him a little. Okay.
I'm gonna have to shoot you down. Shoot you down.
Lose your mag. Sure, I guess you can aggressively push to force them to reset you. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing where, you know, you sort of did a little bit of we're getting into the worst of both worlds where, hey, it's still going to take them a fair amount of time to reset you. A little bit of shooting here, a little bit of getting aggressive, but you sort of have an earlier back off than you did there to force them to either jump in and eliminate you faster or to accept that, hey, I have 70% ult charge, I have 65% ult charge, I'm going to get this real easy, and then you actually get it. This is sort of, you know, going down at 88. It's sort of a rather large stagger, but that's okay. What is that? Like, this is just, there's nothing going on. You don't see any projectiles. You don't see where the damage is coming from. You see a tiny bit of a soldier, maybe, if you actually recognize that. I think you're just preemptively DMing, expecting another Pharaoh shot when there isn't one.
Yeah.
And again, I don't particularly like this micro either. Like, this boosters, good boosters, good boosters. You're never going to get a real finish on him. He has this going, like, I'd rather have these for an actual dive where you're staying on someone, not for this. Like, if you're using your micro missiles as just raw poke, like, you can find something better than a soldier that's instantly going to close the angle on you. And if you're using them to actually try to get an elimination, that's fine too. But that would be a situation where, you know, you actually fight the soldier up here. You actually fight the soldier up here, not the soldier's, you know, down here and running away. So not really how we want to see our micros used. And it's been a couple times where our micros have been a bit of a question mark. Right. Like, okay, this is a more interesting micro. Would have certainly been more interesting to have our micro missiles for that there.
Defense matrix activated. I need healing. 다시 완벽하게 작동한다.
Sort of.
다시 완벽하게 작동한다.
Okay. Is this DM for the Pharaoh or is it for the soldier? What's this for?
It was for the Pharaoh. I was anticipating rocket.
Okay. Okay. So her projectiles don't move all that fast. You really can react to them. It takes a little bit of practice, but you really can sort of react to her rockets when they're coming at you, especially from that distance. And if you want to swipe it across that rocket, that's fine. But obviously you want to react to them because your internal cooldown is so long on Defense Matrix now. We don't really want to try to preemptively do rockets because between her fire rate and the length of cooldown of your DM and how long you have to keep your DM active if you do use DM at all, really want to not try to predict rockets, but instead actually react to them. Okay. You're deciding to aggressively take space. I don't love it. I'd really prefer you to sort of hold your boosters either to affirmatively clear something that's in a position that you don't like. And yes, you might not like that these guys are in this position, but they're solidly in this position. It's not like a single person that you can go challenge, or you to sync with your Winston a bit better here. And your Winston is off pace, not synced with you. Like, I'd like you to be more ready, having health, having boosters available when your Winston is actually ready to go. And you're really playing more to support him rather than to make plays yourself when you're going in aggressively, unless it's to contest a lone off-angled person, which it's not here. It's kind of a slow reaction. Okay, so I see dragon going on. Do you know where the dragon's going on?
No.
Okay, so you have boosters and dragons going on, and what you want to be aware of is, hey, I have a friendly ult going off. I want to be hyper aware of where that is, because I expect that my Genji can probably win the fight for us. Like, if he's going to use a Nano Blade here, he can probably win the fight for us. I'd sure like to look around and know if I can get my DM over him so he doesn't get slept. So he doesn't get, thrown around by a Junkrat mine. So he doesn't get deleted by a bunch of Storm Arrow, whatever, as he's pulling his blade out. Like, that's a thing that you're looking to do. Sometimes you might decide, no, I don't want to do it because I'm particularly worried right now about the barrage that's going to come out from the other side, or the grav that's going to come out from the other side, or the blizzard, or the high noon, or whatever the case may be. But it wants to be in your mental list somewhere to go, hey, an ult is going off. Do I want to enable my friendly ult that is going off here? And I don't even see so much as a look here of where's the Genji. I don't see any signs that there's really a consideration of, oh, my Genji's ulting, but it's too far, or my Genji's ulting, but I don't want to activate DM because that'll potentially give a window for something else to go off. So look to enable those, just like you would DM your own Pharah if she was barraging, right?
Yeah.
You can think of Blade the same way. You don't need to DM him the whole time, but if you're available to DM him as he's pulling the blade out, that's his most vulnerable window, do it. And then this you should just instantly be on top of. You have boosters, you have DM. Yeah. Okay, so just need to get better at our DM reactions here. Not a big deal, but this is happening. This is happening. And it's sort of like, wait, looks to me like you activated your DM after you rolled away. Maybe I've got that backwards. Let's take a look. I'll slow it down.
Yeah.
You did. You activated your DM after he went ball form, which, not the end of the world. But you're holding it. You're holding this DM on this ball that you can't, there's nothing to DM. Like, there's just not. So we're really going to need to get more focused with our DM of I am DMing for specific reasons. I am DMing to enable my friend's ult. I am DMing to disable specific abilities. I am DMing specific things in specific matchups. It might be, hey, I am DMing the soldier's visor. I am DMing the soldier's helix rocket. I am DMing the Pharaoh's every second rocket, every third rocket, whatever. It might be I am DMing the nade and the sleep. It might be I am DMing the ball. I am DMing the ball after he gets to the later part of his clip, it might be, when he hasn't balled, or I'm DMing him when he hasn't balled for very long because it hasn't forced the reset. Like, you get to certain things that you're paying attention to, DMing, etc. I'm DMing to protect myself from generic damage once I get to maybe about this health threshold where you've still got some armor because you don't want to go into health because the armor is, a more effective place to keep you. But it still needs to be in response to, I'm DMing something that can actually do damage to me. So we want to get a little bit more sort of mentally on board with this, but that's okay. Oh, almost. Right, Ed? Oh. Well, I don't love this. So here you are. You have a full bar of DM and boosters. You've got Genji and a Mercy here. You've got a Mercy on the other side. I don't particularly like this, and the reason I don't particularly like this is I don't know what the status is over here. Like, are there more things over here for you to get? Are the things that are over here out of cooldowns? Like, I don't particularly know that this fight is in a place where this is going to get you a ton of stuff. Is your team going to be able to follow up? You know, if the opponents use cooldowns or compromise their positioning to avoid the bomb, but do avoid the bomb, is that going to mean your team can run them over? Well, this mostly looks like a no to me. So, like, okay, you throw your self-destruct here, and Soldier and Mercy go here, or Soldier and Mercy drop here. That doesn't really change this matchup that heavily between the sort of 3v2 that's going on here, does it?
No.
Right. Whereas if you just join this with your 450 health and your boosters and your DM, I think you're going to win this. It's a 3v2.
Suiting up.
Okay. But you guys had that elim anyways. Fine. I didn't really see a huge need to DM here. So I'm looking at this, and it's like, okay, cool. Your Genji has full health. This is going on. Maybe you're DMing now to deny the heals to make this more reliable. Maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seconds remaining.
Okay.
No. Taking off.
Okay. I mean, that's friendly. This isn't amazing. It's like I'm DMing to protect my a bajillion health monkey. Do you see like a sleep dart that you're worried about, a nade that you're worried about? What is this here? Because I don't
Yeah, I
care
don't know
about.
what that is.
Okay, because the soldier doing damage to your monkey is sort of like, yeah, whatever. He's still at 1,000 health.
No. Shoot you down. Move it out. Helden sterben nicht.
It's an okay micro. Okay. So, you DM'd because she turned to you, I have to imagine. You're either DMing because she turned to you. You know she doesn't have nade because you just saw nade. And you're DMing because she just turned to you. No, she didn't just turn to you. She turned to you and shot you once before you pulled this out. Do you feel like you have her at a health? Do you feel like this feels like desperation DM to me, and it's not even desperation DM on the target that's actually was hurting you. Like she doesn't have her nade, and she isn't reaching for her sleep dart. Like her reach for her sleep dart is more obvious than her nade, I'd argue. And also, I don't feel like she's not in panic mode yet. Like when her health gets weak enough, she's going to tend to panic and go, well, it's now or never, and go for it. And she's not really there yet. And you also, like, you didn't DM her right as she turned to face you because there's an increased likelihood she'll do it then. You're not DMing her as she's low health. You're DMing her as you're low health. And that's just sort of like, well, okay. I mean, maybe the thought here is you're DMing her specifically to try to get back to your micro missiles because maybe you can win with those. That's the best I can figure here, but it's not generally how you want to be using DM, and I'm getting concerned about your DM.
Need healing.
Okay.
Get through this. I need healing. APM 좀 올려볼까? Heroes never die.
Fine.
No.
Great.
Routing power to forward shield.
Again, DMing a retreating soldier there.
Time to raise my DVA.
Better. Good tracking. Less good micro missile. I'm not convinced that again that this fight isn't about to happen again, and that micro is like again on someone who is very close to cover. You weren't going to be able to get much of it on.
Oh, also, my monkey, he was like on a mission every single fight on second point for the Pharah. Should I
Okay.
have followed him? Like to kill the Pharah? Like should I have helped him? Or
Yeah,
is that
that's not
hard
bad.
job?
That's not bad actually. In general, you're gonna make Pharah pretty high priority, especially in your composition where your answers to the Pharaoh aren't amazing. Your job is generally going to become, like if you're optimizing this comp, what you'd be doing is you'd be going, I'm going to judge when I think my team is going to do something, when I think my team is ready to do something. And as they do something, usually as my monkey jumps on something, I'm either going to join my monkey in the jumping on that thing, or more likely, I'm going to go sort of not let the pharmacy get value. I'm going to go, nope, I'm going to not let the pharmacy get value for like 6 seconds, 4 seconds, whatever you can do, where you go, she's not allowed to get much value on my team. She's only allowed to get value on me, and I'm not going to lose my mech. I'm going to use my boosters. I'm going to use my DM. I'm going to use my health pool. I'm going to use all that to sort of not let her get value while my team kind of gets their aggressive elimination, be that on whatever other target. That's usually how you'd play. You're not actually mostly playing that way because you're playing into a team that's been playing pretty aggressive on you, and you've been able to play a very peel heavy game where you're instead going, I'm peeling the tanks, which that doesn't bother me. Do I want you to adjust that and go try to get the fair eliminations if your monkey is going on them? You really have to judge it based off of the comp and go, hey, can we take out their fair reliably, or is my protecting my team going to lead to us winning more often? And I'd say in this situation, no. You protecting your team, if you wanted to play more of a peel diva, that probably has higher odds. Like you're looking at this and going, hey, I have my Anna and my Hanzo back here. My Hanzo can probably get stuff done if I don't let the fair or the tracer take anyone out. You could go for a very peel heavy play style that is more babysitting of your backline, or you could go for the eliminations with your monkey on the pharmacy. I don't want you really picking a third target though. I want you doing one of those two things. So yeah, you can go with them.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, you have boosters again. You're going to use them to peel for her? Please? Okay, so you're trying to time this. It's not going to be perfect, but you're trying to time this like basically to cancel a jump landing on your. So this would be a good time to booster. Like this would be a good time to booster to knock it back. Because it can be perfect, no. But if you booster and immediately cancel after you hit the knockback, that's like as much peel as you're able to get for your Anna while this primal thing is going on. And she needs some help. Yeah, this isn't amazing.
Ejecting. Group up.
I'm taking care
Group
of
up
you.
here.
This should be it.
Okay, so might as well use that downtime to take a little bit of a look around on your team in terms of where they are. Like, take stock, get a feel for, is it push time? Are we close to push time? What are we doing?
Let's get you back out there.
No.
Not my favorite way to eat rockets. So there's different strategies for eating rockets in some ways, but generally none of the strategies involve So this is good. You late catch a rocket. You wait till the rocket's most of the way here, and you eat it, and then you generally let go and just accept that the next rocket's going to come in here. And you'd be potentially thinking, like, as soon as you eat the first rocket, you'd let go of your DM and accept that the next rocket is going to come in. Hopefully your guys dodge it. If they don't dodge it, they'll take damage, but one rocket isn't going to eliminate people. And you're really looking at this more as a hard blocking her for 2 seconds isn't good enough because effectively what you do is block 3 rockets. It's much more interesting if you can say cause her to only get one out of 2 rockets in for a full clip, for a full 6 rockets or whatever, because then she's got to deal with, hey, she has to have the accuracy to hit 2 rockets, and 2 rockets in a row isn't necessarily even going to do it because you've got healing coming in there. Like, that actually does a better job of shutting down her value and not letting her do what she needs to for her team than trying to block every rocket does. Like, making her perform at 50% for 6 seconds is better than making her perform at 0% for 2 seconds. Nope. There we go.
No.
Okay.
APM 좀 올려볼까?
So you have to decide, what are you doing? This fight is happening. Are you healing? Are you going in with your monkey?
60 seconds remaining.
Honestly, I didn't know what to do there because Monkey was like always on Farah. But I didn't know what to do, so I don't know if I should be the front line.
Yeah, you can join the monkey on Farah, or you can aggressively peel for your team the tanks and the tracer that show up on them, and you sort of have to make that judgment every fight as D.Va. That sort of is quintessential D.Va, where it's like, okay, that is I'm the plug. I go, okay, is there a hole up here in the front? Is there a hole up here in the back? What am I going to go deal with? What is needed this fight? I'm the one who varies it from fight to fight in some ways. Okay, so this time you're going to peel. Sort of. Don't know why you like DMing that ball there. Nice knowing you. Yeah.
30 seconds
Punch,
remaining.
time's running out. Everyone
Lonely walked into that.
You did, but it's all good.
We cannot stop now. Move the payload.
10 seconds
we're
remaining.
running out of time. Get here.
Overtime.
Again, I don't love this micro missile, and the reason for that is I know you're not going to get very much damage in this Ana, and I also know that the fight is going to happen right now. Poke micro missiles are fine, but poke micro missiles the fight's not going to happen. Like, the real fight, the dive, isn't going to happen for 5 or 6 seconds, or if it does, I'll have gotten good poke value out of the micro missiles to soften you up. This doesn't really soften up the Ana much at all, and I always knew it wasn't going to soften her up very much, and now I don't have my micro missiles, which could be really useful if I'm shifting at this Pharah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So try not to have a little more care of when you're using your micro missiles, and hey, am I going to want these for a dive, for a real push, for a real peel, or can I use these in a poke phase because I think we're still battling, jockeying for position, and it's going to be a bit before we make a play. This is just alt tracking. I don't mind this. You weren't going to be able to stay on her. I don't like that necessarily that you're keeping the DM over the Ana here. That's not as good. Like, yes, denying Ana heals with the DM is a thing, but I find a lot of players, it's one of those things where it's like the CarQ video tips where there's some good tips in there, but a lot of these are like, this is an interaction that people hear about, or like hitting a tech or whatever, where it's like, this is an interaction that people learn about that gets done in higher ranks, etc., that is just not actually that useful in that many situations, and it tries to get applied to many more situations than it's called for it. It's not that common, really, that you're going, hey, this is DMing for this second, this half second is going to be the difference between getting this elimination and not. It mostly occurs, honestly, in Rhine v Rhine brawl situations when your Rhine is going hard and you're going, I am DMing the other Rhine to stop him from getting heals when he's already been dropped past his armor, and my Rhine is already in a pretty advantageous situation in it. You sort of see what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be looking that hard for these situations, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought she was gonna sleep me there.
Okay. So I'm glad you let me rant before you told me that you no,
Yeah.
it's all good. It's all good. And that's not me knocking Karq. Karq does some good work. I just find people apply it wrong. Fine. Okay. It's okay. You can dance with the best of them. Okay, now you want to play a little more defensive because at this point you are close to your mech.
60 seconds remaining.
Good, you got it. Nope, you do not need to project presence. You do not need to project presence. Get into your mech. So, what does this merely accomplish?
Not much. Canceling boosters.
Yep, but you can manually do that. You know how to manually do that. So, like, does it really accomplish much for you?
No.
Okay, but it did switch off your primary fire for a moment, for half a second, right?
Yeah.
And that's totally fine against 200 HP heroes because, hey, it's a similar amount of damage, good, it swaps off your boosters, you understand it, cool, works for me. But I would like to keep doing primary fire to this giant target in front of me because I think I can get more than 30 damage done to him in the half second that a melee takes than that. So melee cancel isn't for every boosters. Okay.
I am moving to payload.
30 seconds remaining.
Whereas this is a fine micro missile. Good.
10 seconds remaining.
Bailing out.
Okay, so we've got decision making surrounding micro missiles to work on in terms of, hey, you're using micro missiles in long range poke battles where they're immediately going to get line of sighted and you don't have a new target to take them to, and you're also using micro missiles in situations where you're very likely to have a better use for them in 3 seconds. And you're also sort of kind of willy-nilly with your DM, where it's not so much over-investing DM as it is activating DM in situations where it's just not doing anything for you in the first place. So we're going to keep an eye on both of those things and then keep looking for, hey, is there something more important that we want to give you instead?
Mercy and Bereitschaftsdienst.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Oh, aren't you lucky? You traded out your Winston for a Sigma. You don't need DM to protect this barrier. That's like using DM to protect DM. Okay. Okay.
Time to raise my
You can't actually win this. Okay.
Come on. Come on.
Who's this for?
The Seg was gonna die.
From the monkey and the Zarya, right?
Yeah.
So who's this DM for?
Yeah. I forget I can't DM the Tesla.
Okay. Okay.
Routing power to forward shield. I'm going to shoot you down.
Okay. Could have let go of that a touch earlier with the DM.
Boosters engaged.
Heroes never die.
Good idea. She's Valking. She really doesn't need your help when she's like that, unless her health is much lower than it is. Like, she is totally fine. She can Guardian Angel out of there. She has really fast health regen. She has movement on 3 dimensions. Like, she's great. She does not need this.
See,
And
I
I'm-
thought she had sticky, so that's why I DM'd.
And I hear you, but like if a Valking Mercy gets stuck, like you just go for shame, shame, shame. No, okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, good. Really? That was zero respect paid. I mean, she is close to having grab. I just don't know that I believe she's going to use it. I think she's scared and trying to back off. Right position. There's the grab. You don't know that Deanna's that weak. It's okay, I believe in you. We'll take it. We'll take it.
I'm not a good group up.
Impossible. An enemy return.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Helden sterben nicht.
Okay. Help! Help the moth! Help!
Healed up.
Where's your team?
Behind me.
Generically, but like real close behind you, or no? Like ready for you to push out through this, or no?
Well, since the Sig came out, I was like, okay, everybody must be here. That's what I was assuming.
Okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, your soldier isn't ready, but overall it's not bad. But the point is, I didn't know. And the reason I didn't know isn't because I wasn't paying attention. It's because I refused to 100% track everyone's spawn timers. Which, you know, I could have done, you could have done, but wouldn't it have been so much easier to just, while you're here, do a quick and kind of know where everyone is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get through this.
Regen up. Observe the barrier.
I'm going to shoot you down.
Okay.
So this is what made me
I'm gonna
mold.
shoot you
Because I
down.
thought I had her and I was screaming for help and she doesn't die. And then she
Yeah.
ult.
Oh, she can hold? Ouch.
Booster on.
Oh, yeah.
This.
Oh, yeah. That's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. On the other hand, it's not like you don't have your tools to stop her. Like you're choosing to not reacquire her, to not go, hey, is she back? You're choosing to not look up.
부스터 온.
Yeah. Hmm.
Nerf this. 다시 한
What
판
more could I have
해보자고.
done in that initial fight I had with the Pharah to ensure I killed her?
Yeah. So
Get
unfortunately, not much. So here we are.
heal.
We're pushing back in. And here's going to be the answer.
Get through this.
Observe the barrier.
This is good. This is good. This is good. Don't cancel. Do not cancel your boosters here. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you land over here because she is going to be very, very unhappy that she now cannot use height to escape you. You follow what I'm saying? If she's
Yeah.
hovering over here with like 30 HP, she's gone. If she tries to like E out, A, you can potentially eat the E, but B, you're still going to take her. So what it comes down to is when you're pushing Pharaohs, if you're actually trying to get the elimination on them, you have to judge, hey, is there high ground I can finish my boosters on? Even if I don't do quite as much damage to her, even if she has an extra 30 health, so even if she's at 90 health now, and as a result I finish my boosters here instead of being at, what do you actually get her to, like 30 health? That's okay with me because you're so much more pressure on her. If you're able to go, yeah, if you're able to go, hey, I landed here. Now what you got? That's the real answer.
Okay.
Nerf this.
And then you could have, of course, been like, hey, she's probably going to come back. I'm going to look up. I'm going to do this. But
다시 한 판 해보자고.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Taking off.
Activating the barrier.
Defense matrix activated.
okay.
Get through this.
Why?
Get through this.
What is this?
Thought I was taking a lot of damage.
Okay. So, like, use a single tick of DM, I guess, and leave. But, it shouldn't be more than that. And even that is, you know, not 40% of our DM.
Time to raise my
I simply
APM.
don't want the poke fight with the McCree at that distance. Like, I'm not interested. At this point, you have to leave and go get the Mega. But I'm not interested in long-range poke fights, Estiva. I'm interested in being able to cast my DM to protect people. I'm interested in shooting people in the head when they're not looking at me, but I'm not interested in shooting at a McCree or a Pharah at this distance, because it's just me giving them something to shoot at, which is like, wait a second, why would I do that?
I need healing.
Mega would have been better. Because then you maintain your own off angle there, which is going to still have more value. Now you're ready for this.
APM 좀 올려볼까?
Not sure why you went DM here, to be perfectly honest. Like, I'm looking at this. Okay, that shot was not at you.
APM 좀 올려볼까?
This looks like it's maybe trying to shoot past you with the next shot. Like, that shot through. Okay, you don't necessarily know if that's a direct hit on your Ana or not. But I'm looking at this and I'm going, I'm not even convinced you're close enough to block by keeping your DM on here. So I just don't like turning this DM on. I think continuing to put damage pressure on her was the better peel.
날아간다.
Yeah, I don't love this.
I'm about to shoot you down.
Heroes never die.
Okay.
The payload is approaching its destination.
Огонь по готовности.
Okay. So you got dragged into a few too many things at once here, where it's sort of a, okay, I'm Diva, and this is a typical Diva problem.
APM 좀 올려볼까?
I'm Diva, I can solve all of the problems. I can solve the high noon problem. I can solve the graph problem. I can solve the pharmacy problem, but I can't do them all at once. So, I need to sort of do them, but I need to keep myself available for the biggest problem, and the biggest problem is probably the graph problem. So, and the smallest problem is probably the high noon problem. So, this is a little bit disappointing where we go, hey, I'm going over. I didn't really want you to go over here. I wanted you to potentially, shoot at the diva, be ready, or shoot at the fair, be ready to block her out. But I was happy for you to make her leave, not for you to actually chase her down, because I know that there's other problems on the board, and I know that you chasing her over here puts her in a situation where she can beat you. Like, she can beat you. And even if she doesn't demech you, she can beat you over here with the pharmacy, where you don't really have a way out if she chooses to, back off and fight you from over here until your boosters are back. And then when you boost back, you're draining a lot of support uptime, etc., and you weren't really protecting your team that well while doing so. So, not a big deal.
I'm about to shoot you down.
You do this. I don't necessarily love this. This I do like. You're going the right way. And then you see the high noon. And okay, this is a little bit of a problem. We've got most of our DM back. We're far enough in that we're going to have to use some DM to get out. I don't necessarily love that path. And then it looks like you reopen that? No, you didn't reopen that. And you have the DM available, and you just forgot that the Zarya had graph. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't tracking.
Yeah, all good. Zarya is usually the first person you'll learn to track when you're playing Diva, but not a big deal. Okay, so what I would talk about for you really is going to be the easier thing will be fixing your micro missiles. Like, that'll be the easier thing where it'll be, hey, I should just think a little bit more about when do I actually think the fight is going to start. I can use micro missiles for poke if we're a fair bit out. I'd still prefer not to use micro missiles for poke against targets that are immediately going to be able to break line of sight on me. And if we're close to the fight starting, I'd rather not use micro missiles for poke. I would rather have them for this monkey that I'm peeling, this ball that I'm peeling, this soldier that's on a half angle high ground that I'm going to go contest, this Zen or Anna that I'm going to go dive with my monkey. So, like, let's adjust our micro missile usage to be a little more conscious of those sort of categories. Do those categories make sense in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay. And then DM's harder. DM is simply harder, and I have to decide how we're going to tackle your DM usage, because you're just DMing things that aren't DMable, that don't make sense, etc. So I find the best way to build that out with DM, if you can't just go, oh, I'm just going to be super conscious every time I DM. Like, if that's too much, you can break it down to the individual heroes and start thinking about every hero one at a time for how do I duel this hero? And it's not really about dueling them. What it's really about is, what is my DM useful for against this hero? When I'm fighting Zarya, what is my DM useful for? Well, it's useful for grabs and right clicks, and grabs are way, way, way more important. So if I'm fighting a Zarya, but really what I'm watching for when to use my DM is going to be that graph. And this is going to need to be either an equation of I'm shouting at my team to run over the Zarya as we're brawling hard, and I'm DMing her for 2 seconds while we do so she just can't get an opening, and we're either deleting her or hurting her team enough that their graph can't turn the fight, or I'm watching her like a hawk ready to reactively DM to her walking into, funny positions, her trying to go find something to stuff the grab in, I react with boosters, etc. So those are like your things when you think through Zarya. Then you think through Winston, and you go, what do I do against Winston? Well, there's nothing I can do against Winston. So my matchup against Winston, with DM that is, so my matchup against Winston is I use my boosters in reaction to his leap to boop through his face in the opposite direction of his leap, even if I have to do like a U-turn boop to knock him away from whoever he just jumped on, and then I make sure I'm shooting him in the face. But my peel for Winston is my boosters. Then you move on and go, hey, there's Anna. And then you go, okay, well, what's it going to be when it comes to Anna? Okay, well, when I show up on Anna's, she's either immediately going to react with a cooldown, or she's going to react with cooldowns once she gets to a point. So I can either play to understand, maybe I want to flick a tick of DM at the very beginning in the hopes of, hey, that'll somewhat reliably eat something for me, or maybe I go, no, I want to do this the real way, and I want to watch the butt of her rifle. When the butt of her rifle moves, she's either reloading or using an ability. So I want to watch the butt of her rifle, or I want to watch when she reaches for her waistband for the sleep dart. And that sort of becomes how you do it, and you sort of work through it one hero at a time. And I wouldn't go, oh, this is the enemy list. Let me just, pause the game because I can't do that and think through how I handle each one, but just work your way through the heroes sort of a couple at a time, and then it's going to become like you're just not going to use wasted DM, and you're going to sort of be like, I know what I'm doing when I'm playing against these heroes. And you can just pick a couple of the most meta heroes that you're seeing. You can really think through that, and you can think about challenging those two heroes at a time and what your DM against them looks like. And then once you've got that, you work your way out to the next heroes. And I can do that with any example heroes you'd like me to do that with, but that's how I'd recommend leveling up your DM usage here. And DM usage
Mhm.
has to level up forever on Diva, but you need to start. What was that?
Okay. And I have another question. It's regarding like eating grass. What's the most consistent way of eating grabs? Like just hiding and then just popping DM when she's not expecting it?
Yeah, so the most consistent way of eating grabs is like, hey, my Reinhardt is fighting down here. She and her Reinhardt are fighting down here, and I'm right up here. She can't really see my DM. I have an angle on her. It's tough for her to pay attention to me. Like, this is the most, getting these above off angles is the most consistent way of eating grabs. And then you start watching her movement and you learn Zarya's movement. And if she starts to go do something weird, you boost her towards her and you end up, yes, eating a grab from behind type stuff. Or you might be going, hey, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm playing here, I'm doing this, whatever. Maybe I'm playing right behind my Ren shield if I absolutely have to be, though it's not great. And you're watching for, oh, you're doing the Telltale Zarya sign, you're reloading, then you're walking up with your bubble up, walking up by yourself with your bubble up. Okay, well, this is going to be real easy, etc. But like when they're not that easy, it's about making it really hard to see, playing from these off angles where your DM is harder to see, where she can't be affording to look at you the whole time, all that stuff. Or if she throws the grab at just you, so be it. That'll be an easy eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably the best I've got in terms of a 30-second answer to eating grabs.
hmm Probably like the most frustrating thing about Zarya is knowing she's inting and she's holding W by herself,
hmm
and she's gonna grab. You're anticipating it with DM.
hmm
She's still because most smart Zaryas are gonna throw it at your feet.
Yep.
It's pretty impossible to
No,
DM unless you're looking at the
no,
ground, right?
perfectly doable. And you can see where she aims the butt of her weapon. Like, it's doable, even if she tries to grab right into the ground. If she grabs right into the ground close enough to you to get you can get it.
I have to aim at the ground though, right?
Yes, yes,
Oof.
yeah, yeah. You're gonna have to adjust to match her. No question there. Um, DM tends to work best towards the center of it, and that's why if you need to practice eating Moira orbs, for example, those are a good example that can be finicky. Where it's like, I'm catching you in the top half of my DM. Why are you not being eaten? And just sort of swipe the middle of your DM through the center of the orb, and you'll get it. And in general, DM works better towards the center. It shouldn't, but it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, I noticed I tend to hold DM a lot. I don't really tap. How do I go about changing that habit?
Um, you don't necessarily need to tap it because you don't want to tap it, let go, and then go, oh shoot, it's locked on cooldown. You need to just be quick to let go. You need to know what you DM'd for, and you need to just sort of be sensitive and quick to let go of, okay, that thing's not happening anymore. Like, it really needs to be that thing isn't happening anymore, or holding this longer isn't getting me any value. So I don't think there's any specific trick for oh, you do this, you drink a lot of caffeine. I don't think there's a specific way to think about it that necessarily helps with that. I think it really is just if you know what you're DMing, you're going to do that. And you're sort of immediately going to realize, well, I didn't eat the sleep dart. So continuing to hold DM unless someone else is shooting at the Ana isn't really helping me. And you sort of realize, I might as well get this over with and, move on to the next stage of the fight, sort of thing.
hmm
I'm sure that's not I'm sure that's not the favorite answer to hear, but that's what I got.
Okay. And another question regarding McCree.
Shoot.
If I'm too far away to actually get in his face,
Hmm.
sacrifice the mech, should I hide like I'm a smart
Yeah.
player, or should I like if I have teammates in danger, should I yeah, like, if I was there, should I have
Hmm.
like put my DM to the side
Yeah,
to
exactly.
save him for a
You
bit?
go, hey, I'm going to tuck myself in here and throw the DM to the side. That's exactly what you do.
Okay, but not too early, right?
Well, you can tuck early if you want because you're going to tuck and you're going to swing your DM across as you're doing it. Like you DMing like this isn't really helping your team. You DMing like this is only helping you. So you're sort of like, I would like to almost immediately, and I've sort of got some health. I would like to almost immediately swing my DM here and get myself back into this position where I have cover. Or maybe it's going to be let me immediately booster to get myself here and throw my DM up, etc. Or let me throw my DM up over here for 1 second, booster over here, etc. And I've done my job. I gave them the time to get to cover because I mean, it's really like you're extending their time to get to cover by DMing is all you're doing there. So you just
Yeah.
take care of them and yourself best you can do it. That's usually going to be a case of I'm DMing and I get myself behind cover. And you can delay on McCree's a little bit because the very beginning of the high noon really isn't very dangerous. So you can be like, yeah, okay, over here. Okay, cool. Now we'll DM.
Okay.
I can do more diva
Yeah.
questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I got another question, but
Shoot.
regarding eating the stickies for Echo. Do you know how much damage those each individual sticky does?
I do not remember how much individual damage each sticky does. No. Um,
Because I've noticed I don't eat all of them consistently. I eat like some.
okay. Okay. That helps. That helps. Certainly. Is it the early ones that are getting through before you get it up, or is it you're not holding? It's got to be the early ones that are getting through, right? Or is it that
Yeah.
she's throwing a spread? Okay. Yeah, that's annoying. The uh, tip for those is when you're fighting Echo, that's specifically what you're watching for. Like when you are shooting at Echoes, when you are being aware of Echo, the stickies are specifically what you're watching for, and they do look different. They don't look wildly different, but
Yeah.
they do look different than her shots. So that's what you're watching for, and that's what you're going to eat. And you're going to eat the stickies, and you're probably going to catch a shot in there while you're at it with that DM. And that's sort of going to be the thing. Like I talked about how you're thinking about each individual matchup. Well, if she's early in your list of people that you're thinking about, the thing that you're looking to eat for her is her stickies. You can't eat her focusing beam. You can eat her regular shots, but the stickies are the high value thing that if you can get rid of, defangs her eliminations the most successfully. And
Hmm.
if you really start to watch for them, you'll see them. Like everything, if you really watch one hero, if you don't go, it's my job to eat everything, but instead go, it's my job to eat anonades. It's my job to eat anonades and flashbangs. Or it's my job to eat grabs and barrages. If you think of it more like that and then you slowly add stuff, it gets way easier than just trying to go, I'm gonna eat every important ability and every ult. No, no, you're not. You won't be able to track them all to start. It's the same way you add cooldowns that you track when you're playing other heroes, or you add ults that you're tracking one at a time.
Yeah.
But if you really go, hey, I'm aware of Echo and I want to eat her stickies, you'll eat her stickies. You'll eat her stickies reliably. I believe in you, Tom Joe.
Also, I have one last question, but it's regarding the booster
Mhm.
mechanic. What part of like when you cancel the booster is it? Will you get the farthest boop? Is it in the initial part of it, or like at the end when you cancel? If you get what I mean.
Can you rephrase?
So like, let's say you're playing on well, and you're trying to boop someone in.
Hmm.
What is the like? How should I cancel my boop so they go the farthest and the
Uh,
higher chance of them to fall in?
Well, the highest chance of them falling in has much less to do with where you hit them with on your boost, and much more to do with what direction they were pressing on their keyboard, or if they were pressing a direction on their keyboard when you connected with them. So I really wouldn't be microing very hard to go, I'm trying to hit you at the beginning or the back end or whatever of my boop. What I'm doing is I'm trying to hit you with my boop as you're pressing the keyboard in the direction that is going to send you maximum distance, which is in the direction of the well, or as you're not touching your keyboard. And I'm trying very, very hard to not hit you with my boop as you're holding away from the well. So usually that means I want to hit you with the earliest part of it, because that's when your reactions are going to be worse in terms of you're not going to realize what's happening in time. That's that's the actual answer. That's what actually affects boop distances. Yes, some boops have different distances that they knock people compared to other boops, but the thing that actually changes the boops, like the big significant swing to the boops, is whether they were holding the keyboard against you, holding the keyboard with you, or not touching the keyboard at all.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
what
if
you
I were to
really
just
go ahead.
Oh, okay, that does make sense. So if I were to just like fly into them
Mhm.
as opposed to fly and then cancel, there's not really a difference.
Yeah, you're not finding that's not what's causing the real differences. What's causing the real distances when you're booping people and causing them, hey, sometimes they get moved really far and sometimes they don't, is a case of is a case of you getting the, what am I trying to say? Is a case of you catching them touching or not touching, or touching their keyboard in a different direction. That's what's causing the biggest difference in your boops. The other thing that can happen that's a little different is you can have different levels of pursuit with your boosters, where you can go, hey, if I cancel my boosters one way versus cancel my boosters another way, you can continue for your forward momentum a little bit different. You can continue for your forward momentum, so it might seem like they're getting knocked further away or not, because really what's happening is, in one, you're stopping immediately when you cancel your boosters, whereas in the other, you're gliding a little bit when you're stopping your boosters, which causes you to stick to them a little more. And you can experiment with that to see what you like there and to get your feel for that. But that might be why you're mixing up, like, oh, if I hit them with different parts, they get boop different distances. No, that's not so much what's going on.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for you there?
No.
Cool, cool. Then I think that's going to do it. I will talk to you soon. Good luck, man.
All right. Appreciate it, Temporo. Have a good one.
You too.